Welcome back to the Let's Buy a Home podcast. This week I am joined by Beth Snow from Beth's Budget Diary. If you're dreaming of home ownership, but your finances aren't quite where you'd like them to be, then this episode is for you. Beth, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Perfect. Well, I've been following your Instagram page for quite a while now, actually since you had under 10,000 followers, and I know it's been quite the journey for you. So today I'd like to unpack that journey, as I know it will be an inspiring one for many of our listeners. So Beth, please introduce yourself, Beth's Budget Diary, and why it is you started your page.
So, hi everyone, I'm Beth, founder of Beth's Budget Diary. And some of you may know me as Budget Jones's Diary because I had a little rebrand about a year ago. But I help people save money, ditch debt, and just improve their overall financial well-being through tips and tricks that I share on social media. I've been running the account for, 3-4 years now. And like you say, we've known each other from pretty much the beginning. So it's nice to have this chat today. And yeah, it's just evolved massively over those years. I originally started just sharing my own personal finance journey, which at the time was not in the best place. And I had around £18,000 in credit card debt and no real clue what I was doing, to be honest. Debt and just money in general is a really awkward thing to talk about, I find, but I'm pretty much an open book. So I wanted to just share what I was going through, keep myself accountable on my journey. And now it's become, a bigger page and I'm debt free. And last year bought my first home. So yeah, it's all very exciting.
Very nice, very nice. Okay, so how did you find yourself in £18,000 worth of debt?
So I was basically just living the life of Riley, to be honest. I was going on lovely holidays, buying clothes, eating out a lot. And it just snowballed out of nowhere. It was like 1 minute I was doing okay. And then the next minute I just had all this debt behind me with like no real idea of how I was going to pay it off.
Yeah, I think that's a story that many people have themselves. It's certainly something I hear a lot from my home buyers. When did you realise that it was maybe time to ditch the debt? When did you hit that peak, so to speak?
Yeah, I mean, I was racking up this debt for a number of years and I always knew it was a bit of a burden and I was paying off the minimum repayments and then a bit extra every month, but I was still slowly racking more on. So it was never really going down and I just wasn't taking it as seriously as I should have been. And I got with my partner and we'd moved in and we started renting, and just one day we started talking about our goals and what we wanted to achieve together, and money just naturally came up and I thought, you know what, I'm just going to tell him everything and share, all this credit card debt, like what we're going to do. And funnily enough, he actually said, oh, I've got some credit card debt as well. And we didn't know that because we didn't share it with each other before. And then once that was all out in the open, it was like, right, well, let's just crack on now because we're both on the same page. We're starting at the same point. Like, let's just do it. And it's funny because the original reason I got a credit card in the first place was because I wanted to become a homeowner. And what started off as me trying to help, build my credit score, show lenders that I was reliable, it actually didn't happen like that. And it became a bit of a hindrance. So yeah, I just needed to get it gone. And, I felt a bit embarrassed and a bit ashamed as well, if I'm being completely honest. I'm a chartered accountant and I've worked in finance for 10 plus years. So in theory, I should be great with money, which I can say now, but back then I wasn't putting into practice all the things I knew to be true about business finance into my personal life. So I just wanted to get it gone, to be honest.
I understand. And you did mention there having conversations with your partner. So financial conversations in British culture, for one reason or another, can be a little bit of a taboo. So how did you feel before having that conversation? Were you anxious? And how did you decide to make that happen?
Yeah, it just came up naturally. It wasn't, I'd built up this thing in my head like, oh my God, we should not talk about this. I don't want it to come up. It just sort of came up naturally when we were discussing our goals and what we wanted to do, because, you know, money is the backbone for everything that we do in life. And we both agreed, yeah, we wanted to travel, but we also wanted to become homeowners. And money is a big part of that. So it came up just naturally. So in a sense, that is a good thing, because I didn't have the time to build it up into this bad thing. But that was kind of the first stepping stone as well, was just sharing that with my partner. And then what happened there was it made it easier to talk with my family as well. So not long after that initial conversation with my partner, I also then had the same conversation with my dad and learn about his money struggles and things that he'd learnt along the way. So it actually opened up many doors for me just by being honest and open about it.
Yeah, and I think there will be many people in a very similar position. At that time, when you took that first step with your partner, how far away did home ownership feel at that time?
Oh, it just felt impossible. I mean, I had £18,000 of credit card debt, plus the thousands of pounds that I needed to save towards the deposit. And that's a huge chunk of money that was needing to be invested into just these two goals alone, you know, let alone having a social life in my early 20s and still enjoying myself. But I knew it wasn't going to happen overnight, and it was going to take a long time to get there, because you've got to be realistic about it. But I'm also quite a determined person. And once I've got my sights set on something, there's kind of no stopping me. And that positive mindset goes a long, long way, because I think sometimes we tell ourselves, I can't do this. I'm not good with money. I don't have a good wage, so I'm not going to be able to save as much. But what that does is that makes us believe all of those things, and we are then less likely to put in those actions and good habits to help us get to those goals. So by me telling myself, no, I am going to do this, it may take me 2, 3, 4 years, but I'm going to get there. That positive mindset helped me so much.
And with ditching the debt, did you have any techniques or plan in which you followed? And if so, could you tell us a little bit more about that?
I mean, it all started with a budget for me. So I had just a very simple budget on a spreadsheet. So I'd listed at the top what my income was for the month. Then I listed all my expenses, so like my rent, utilities, all that kind of stuff. And then at the bottom, that then left me with an amount that I was able to put towards my debt. So this was my disposable income. And what that did then was help me envisage how much I was able to afford to pay off my debt each month. So I wrote down all my debts and how much I owed on them, what my minimum repayments were. And yeah, that amount that I had from my budget, I was able to just throw at this payment plan. Now, what I personally did, there's a couple of different techniques that you can use, such as the debt snowball method and the debt avalanche method. Now, the snowball method is where you pay off the smaller balances first. So if you've got a debt that's £100, £200 and £300, you would tackle the £100 first, and it just gets all the smaller ones out the way so you can focus on the bigger ones. Now, I personally did that because I had quite a few different credit cards. So I just wanted to get the smaller ones out of the way so that I could focus on the bigger ones. But once I started paying those off, I was still feeling quite overwhelmed with it all. So what I decided to then do was consolidate my debts into just one monthly payment. So I did have to pay a little bit of a fee to do that, to merge them all into one. But then I also was lucky enough to get a 0% interest card. So I was not accruing interest, but I was able to make the payments on it. So I did a couple of different techniques, and it did take me a while to find my groove with it and just see how I was getting on with it and just tweak things as I go. But yeah, that's kind of how I did it.
Yes, I'm regularly approached by home buyers who do have a certain level of debt, and maybe they are uncomfortable with that level of debt when they're planning to buy a home. And they typically fall into two different categories. Some people have debt, However, that is not going to impact their ability to achieve their goal of home ownership. Some people, the second category of people is those who do have debt, but that is impacting affordability and going to prevent them from essentially achieving that goal. Did you discuss this with a mortgage advisor? And did they give you any advice around what you did? Did you discuss this with a mortgage advisor? And did they give you any advice in relation to what you needed to do in relation to your debt to achieve home ownership?
Honestly, no. We did use a mortgage advisor, but that was much down the line. So that was once all the debt was gone, and then once we were almost in a position to buy. So from my point of view, it's just like a learning thing. I didn't know that I could approach a mortgage advisor at such an early stage. I thought it had to be, I'm almost ready to buy. I just need them to sort the mortgage out and I'll leave it to the very last minute. So that was just a misconception that I had.
Yeah, and many people do simply want to be debt-free before they look at home ownership to simplify their finances and essentially remove any banana skins moving forward. And that's absolutely fantastic. But if somebody is juggling debt and also a goal of home ownership, you can have a chat with an expert and understand, is your debt going to prevent you from achieving your goal? And if so, how much debt do you need to clear? Do you need to get rid of all of it? Do you only need to get rid of some of it? And then you can make an informed decision moving forward. If you didn't know by now, I work as a mortgage advisor helping first-time buyers from around the UK to take their first steps onto the property ladder. If you want to buy your first home, but you're not sure where to start, head over to my Instagram page where you'll find the educational content that you need. As well as that, you'll find testimonials and success stories from my home buyers. Back to the podcast. A conversation I have often with clients is whether they should use their money to ditch the debt or to save the deposit. Did you do them both together or did you choose to tackle one first?
So this may be controversial, but I actually did both together. So I was paying off my debt, but I was also saving for the deposit. And there's a good reason for that. Mainly because I was just so determined to get to the home ownership status that I just wanted to get cracking straight away. But practically, I came across the Lifetime ISA. So for those that don't know, a Lifetime ISA is basically a savings account for first-time buyers and for people saving for retirement. And you can save up to £4,000 per tax year into this account. And the government will top up this account by 25%. So that's technically £1,000 in government bonuses up for grabs per tax year. Now, I didn't want to leave that on the table because, as I know, tax allowances, you use it or you lose it. So I wasn't going to, waste those government bonuses if I could afford to save. So I basically put in a bit of a plan that I was going to pay off the majority of my debt, but I was also going to put away a small amount into my Lifetime ISA as well, because I'm a huge believer that, making small steps leads to big steps overall. And I just, like I say, I was so motivated to do it that any progress was good progress. And for me, having both on the horizon just meant I was more focused and it gave me more of a reason to cut expenses, ask for pay rises, get my bonuses at work, start side hustling. Because I knew I had these two big goals, in my mind, there was no reason why I shouldn't be doing all of these things and making my budget more healthier. So in a way, having both was a really good thing for me and it pushed me a bit more.
Absolutely. And the Lifetime ISA is certainly a friend of the Let's Buy a Home podcast. We love a Lifetime ISA. It's a great opportunity for first-time buyers who are looking to purchase a property in the UK. I think tackling both in your case, I think that's a great example. Small wins are so important. And in your case, when you are looking to manage both journeys at the same time, you'll be having more small wins and therefore enabling you to enjoy the process. As you're getting closer to both at the same time. But Beth, you are now a homeowner. I understand you have been for 1 year. I've recently seen on your Instagram page. How does that feel?
Oh my God, amazing. like we said earlier, it felt like such an impossible task. And to now be sat here in my own home is just like so surreal. And I'm just still in awe that we managed to pull it off. Yeah, it feels great.
Amazing. And I understand that you guys chose to take on a renovation of a Victorian home. Why did you choose a Victorian home, first of all? And how might a property like that differ from a newer property?
So we actually didn't know that we wanted to buy a Victorian property. I mean, we viewed so many houses, some new build, some like fairly newish, some like 1970s. Like we viewed such a range of properties just to get a feel of what we wanted. I mean, originally I just wanted a nice detached house, big drive, 3-bedroom, the goal was there. But when we actually went and viewed those properties, we're a bit like, I don't think this is for us. So yeah, we just started viewing a couple of properties of Victorian and Edwardian, and it just kind of sold us. We loved all the features, how quirky they were. They're in really nice neighbourhoods, thankfully for us. So that's why we decided to go down that route. But I mean, it hasn't come without its challenges when we've been renovating because, like I say, it's just so quirky and all the features and, walls and ceilings aren't straight. And it's just been a bit of a nightmare to renovate, but it's been a learning curve. And yeah, I just think for us as well, like design wise, we've been able to lean into those Victorian features and, we've like fitted coving recently and we've got the lovely fireplaces that are original to the property. So although it wasn't there right at the beginning in the vision, it's now like everything we could have wanted in it.
Yeah, and I think anybody listening should go and check out your renovation content. I've been a big fan, especially of the coving reels. I've been enjoying them. I've been enjoying those ones. Okay, yeah, something I do often tell my clients is to get out there and view properties. If you're not sure exactly what it is that you want, get out there and get the reps in, so to speak, and you will learn what your deal breakers are as you move along. Is that essentially what you found?
Yeah, I mean, I had like quite a long list of questions that I wanted to ask the estate agent, but you never really know what you want until you start viewing those properties. I mean, we viewed a house that was it was so bad, but because we were so excited, we actually put in an offer on it. And it was only then when we went for the second viewing and we took my partner's parents with us, they were like, no, you can't buy this. Like, this is just too much, even for like you guys. I know you're determined, but no, we know this isn't for you. And looking back now, I'm so glad they intervened and told us not to buy it because, yeah, we were just like rose-tinted spectacles on. We just wanted to get in there, so we just made an offer on the first house we seen, but don't do that. Make sure you have enough viewings under your belt before you make any decision. And yeah, just get a feel for what you want.
Absolutely. And with the renovation, I understand it has been quite the journey for you both. What is your biggest learning?
Biggest learning, I would probably say, is the money has been really hard. The savings go down way quicker than they go up. And when I was in debt a couple of years ago, like spending money was almost addictive and it was my biggest downfall. So over those years, I tried to unlearn all those bad habits. And when we bought the house, spending money is the norm and you spend a lot of money very quickly. And actually that became quite triggering and quite hard for me. It may not for other people, but for me, that was like really difficult. And it still kind of is. I mean, it's quite chaotic when you first move in and there's lots of jobs that need doing. But what helped me was I set up a Trello board. So it's basically like a project plan. So you can have like lists and then within the list, you can have like little cards. So I set up a list per room. And then under those, I set up little projects of what I wanted us to do. And then within there, I also had the budgeted cost. So I knew just by looking at our little project plan, what we needed to do and how much it was going to cost. So that helped me massively just like remain calm and just keep on track and stay organized and not get like swept up in all of this chaos.
I think that's a great piece of advice, and that's actually something I've not heard of before, so I'm sure that will be useful for many people. Have you had to manage expectations in terms of progress and timescale?
Yeah, I mean, everything takes longer than you think it will, and everything will cost a lot more than you think it will. So, we actually bought our wood flooring for our downstairs in maybe like the first week of buying the house. And it's still, it's like literally behind me, stacks of wood flooring because we haven't had time to fit it. And we've had all these other jobs that needed doing first before we could fit the flooring. So we've like completely stripped off all the wallpaper. We've had plastering done, and there's no way that the wood flooring was going down first. So that's just a bit of a learning curve for us as well. I mean, you it's one of those things, you don't know what you don't know. And by moving in and doing all of these other tasks, we've started to get a bit of a feel for what jobs do you do first, and yeah, what to buy first. So that's something that we learn. And yeah, I would just make sure to save up a little bit of a buffer is all I would say. Because especially when you're buying like all the tools and all paints for the first time, like it may be 50 quid there, 100 quid there, but it adds up like so quickly.
Yeah, in my experience, I renovated a property last year, and my findings were that although there weren't any huge jobs that suddenly appeared, what we found was every job seemed to cost £50 more than it was supposed to. And when there's a lot of jobs, that adds up quite quickly. We had to complete a renovation in quite a short time frame because we had a baby on the way. So we did get a lot done quite quickly. However, we've now been in the property 10 months and there are still jobs that aren't done. There are still walls that, we've planned on adding, whether it's simple things like photos or mirrors to the wall. However, yeah, that we haven't quite got those done yet.
Yeah, same for us. I mean, like you say, we've been in here a year now, and we thought we'd be finished 6 months maximum. And still, we've got plaster on the walls. Like, we've not had a second bedroom complete the whole time since we've been here. So, we've basically been in a one-bedroom house. But yeah, it's difficult fitting everything in around. We've both got full-time jobs. I also run my Instagram page, and it's just finding the time to squeeze everything in and maintain a social life.
As you've mentioned that, one thing I found was our full property needed painting, and we chose to get a professional painter in purely because of the amount of time that would take if we did it. Are there any jobs that you would advise people leave to the professionals, or you've chosen to leave to the professionals?
So I think it's quite fun to try most things for yourself. I mean, I'm the opposite. I absolutely love painting. Like, give me a paint roller and a tin of paint any day, and I'll paint a room. But there's videos, tutorials online. There's so many house renovation accounts online that you can follow, and a lot of things you can do. Like, if you just spend a bit of time learning how to do it, you will be able to do it. But yeah, it's just that weighing up if you've got the time to do it. And we've not done everything. I mean, we've tried to do most things ourselves, mainly to keep the costs down, but we also do enjoy it. But some of the things that we've not done is things like the plastering. When we first moved in, we had to do a roof repair, which cost us about £3,500. Like, it was a big chunk of money. Random little things like doing the chimney sweeping, like we haven't done any of that kind of stuff. One, for knowledge. Two, you would probably have to buy some tools that would probably outweigh the cost of doing it anyway. But yeah, we've loved it, like learning things like painting. Like I say before, we've fitted the cove in, which has been really, really difficult. But I know when we finish it, it's going to be really satisfying. We've learned how to take off a radiator, fit shutters. Like, we have done all these other things. And it's been great for us as well. I mean, we've done it together. It's been a nice like couple experience. And yeah, you just feel like so much more motivated to get it done as well.
Yeah, I think that there's so much amazing content out there now, whether it's on Instagram or TikTok, whether it's DIY or gardening or general home renovation accounts. There's so many amazing examples of what to do, but also what not to do.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we've learned so much on fitting this cove in. I think I could probably do a 10-part series on it.
I think I've learned a lot after following your coving reels. Would you renovate again?
You know what? We've both said that this isn't our forever home, and we're in a 2-bedroom terrace at the minute, and we would like to go a little bit bigger, maybe a semi or a detached. Like, that is like a goal for us. So there could be another reno on the cards in the future, but I think we've had our fair share for the time being, at least. I mean, I don't mind painting and stuff, but a full-on reno is quite time consuming, and yeah, I'm happy with where we're at the minute though.
Yeah, I think you should take some time with the property you're currently in. And when you are happy with it, take some time to enjoy it for yourselves. Perfect. So Beth, what would you say to somebody who is listening to this podcast who would love to buy their own home, but they feel that maybe their debt is out of control and home ownership seems an impossible hill to climb?
I would say to start with a plan. I mean, these are 2 major goals, and it's very exciting, but it's also very overwhelming at times. And the debt, I would say, probably inches a little higher in terms of priority, especially if you're accruing interest on that. So I would start there and make a plan of how you're going to pay that off. And like I said before, I do truly believe that small steps can make a huge difference. So if you feel ready and you want to start saving towards your deposit, make progress there as well. Even if it's £10, £20, any progress is good progress. And if you've got the same mindset as me that you can do it, then go for it. I mean, you don't need to compare yourself to anyone else or, think I can't do it, because that's not true. Anyone can. And I would also just say to reach out to someone like yourself, Dan, who can help guide you through that buying process step by step. You don't have to do it alone.
Yeah, and it's never too early to have that sort of conversation. Even if you are 5 to 10 years away, but you do feel like you are holding too much debt, have a chat with an expert. Understand, is that debt going to be an issue for you? Do you need to clear that? And if so, that will then allow you to have some clarity and to put a plan in place. So Beth, thank you very much for coming on the Let's Buy a Home podcast. Where can our listeners find you?
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. You can find me on Instagram at Beth's Budget Diary. I am also on TikTok, so you can follow me at the same handle there. And I've got a website, which is www.bethsbudgetdiary.com. And you can join my newsletter over there too, which goes out every Sunday at 2 p.m. and is completely free to join.
Yes, definitely do have a look at Beth's content. She's doing some amazing things. Thank you very much for everybody to listening, and we'll see you again soon.